Today on the Fresh Brew Club, the Detroit Free Press Marathon is going international once again with a brand new course. Here's my thoughts on the changes. Welcome back to the Fresh Brew Club. So for today's video, the Detroit Free Press, my hometown marathon, just announced that for 2022's race, which takes place in October, it will be going back to international. So the race did not happen in 2020. It was a virtual race. In 2021, it was only in the US because the border was closed due to COVID. This year, it is back to international. It's one of my favorite parts of the actual Detroit Marathon is the fact that you cross the Ambassador Bridge into Canada, and then you cross back into the United States of America. Just a cool experience that we haven't been able to have for the past 2 years, so happy to see it's back. Also, on their Instagram account and on the website, they announced there is a brand new course. So for today's video, I'm going to go through the course. First, I'm going to talk about the old course, just a brief overview to bring you up to speed, and then some of the changes and why I absolutely love the direction, pun intended, that they're taking with the course for the 2022 race. So let's dive into it. All right, so really quickly, I'm going to go over the previous course. This is from 2019, just the basics. So essentially, you are starting the race and finishing the race in the same spot here. This is on Fort Street. You run down Fort Street, do a little loop-de-loop, cross into Canada, then you're running alongside the river with one of the best views of the Detroit skyline you can get anywhere. It's actually in Canada. You go through downtown Windsor here, then you cross the tunnel, which is not such a great view. Then you take a left onto Jefferson, so you're heading southwest at this point. Remember that point, that's where the course is different this year. Then you go into Corktown, Mexican Town, run around a little bit there, jump onto Michigan Avenue, head back downtown, kind of by where you started, Campus Martius area, and then head out down Lafayette into Indian Village to Jefferson, and then onto Belle Isle. Belle Isle, you go back onto the Riverwalk a little bit, run down Atwater Street. This hill right here is a excruciating hill at mile 25, and then you finish right where you started back on Fort Street. So that is the 2019 version of the course. I've run this course twice, and let me tell you, the hardest part of this entire course, unsurprisingly, starts at mile 19 when most people run out of gas. You know, they hit the wall at mile 19. The worst part is you run across the Detroit River onto Belle Isle, and it's extremely windy. There is not much tree cover. It's just an awful place. That is where PRs go to die. So Belle Isle, while it is a beautiful park that I highly recommend visiting and maybe going on an easy run, it is an awful place to run your 22nd mile during a marathon on. So that is the course for the previous year. This is the new course map. So you can see here, this is a sort of a high level view. This is what they posted on Instagram. Essentially, we're going to go through this sort of not necessarily turn by turn, but cover all the basics of what you can expect from the brand new course. So zoom out just a little bit. We have the same starting line at this sort of Fort Street between 1st and 3rd. So you start there, you're running down Fort Street, you do the loop-de-loop, you cross the Ambassador Bridge. This is a great view. The sun is usually rising here, so if you look to your left, you can see the skyline. You can see two countries at once. You're essentially crossing in. You are crossing into a new country over the Ambassador Bridge. It's just a beautiful view. Then you go into Canada. You run along the Riverside Drive here. There's some very friendly people, very friendly Canadians. Always have great motivational signs while you're running in Canada. Then you go into downtown Windsor just a little bit and then cross back into the tunnel. And this is the same as it was before, but here's where things start to change. So you do this little loop-de-loop here, go on to Jefferson, and then instead of continuing down West Jefferson Avenue here, you actually take a right and you go back downtown. So this is Washington, which is a really cool street. The Book Tower, which is under renovation, is on this street, so you may recognize that building. Then you go around Grand Circus Park, jump onto Cass Avenue, cross the Fisher Freeway, which is I-75, and then you're into sort of the Midtown area, so running along 2nd Avenue. And this is all new. This was not part of the course previously. Brand new portion of the course. You take a left, you go into this area, which is kind of like Wayne State. This is where their athletic fields are, like their football stadium, baseball. But you go on West Warren, back into sort of the middle of Midtown here, onto Cass Avenue. And this is where it really gets exciting. So you cross over Woodward, which is kind of the main street in Detroit, and into this area called Brush Park, which you may have seen Brush Park before. It was a previously extremely sort of abandoned, rundown, like classic Detroit is decaying kind of photo you see shared on Reddit all the time. But now there's been a ton of work, there's a ton of renovations, a ton of new construction in this area, tons of residential and commercial buildings have been built here. It looks amazing. I think it'll be close to being done, like the major projects going on in Brush Park, but it's going to be really cool to run through. There's all kinds of like really neat modern architecture. I'll put that up. You're seeing that now on the screen, but a really cool area to run through. Then you cross the Chrysler Freeway, and this is another exciting new addition, Eastern Market. So that is the sort of big market in Detroit. Interesting thing this year, the Lions have a bye week the day that the marathon takes place. Previous years, it felt like there was always a Lions game, like right after the marathon, so it was kind of chaotic getting in and out of there. There is no Lions game, which there's a lot of tailgating for Lions games that takes place in Eastern Market, so we don't have to worry about that. But Eastern Market is a really cool area. There's tons of like really cool murals and businesses, and just like it's gonna be a fun area to run through. So you go through the Eastern Market area, and then you run on a really cool place. I made a video about this. This is called the DeQuinder Cut. This is a greenway. It used to be railroad tracks that they turned into this really cool path with all kinds of like art on the sides. It's for pedestrians and cyclists only, so there's no cars. Great place to run even if it isn't the marathon, but I think it's gonna be really cool to run in there during the actual marathon. So you run along the DeQuinder Cut, which is a really cool place to run, like I said, and then jump onto Lafayette. You go down Lafayette for a while. There is a little bit of an incline from what I remember on Lafayette as you are heading out in this direction. And then you get into this area, which is called West Village. So kind of some interesting architecture in this area. And then you go into my favorite part of the Detroit Marathon, and that's Indian Village. Just a beautiful residential neighborhood with these amazing houses. It's like a big party. The people that live there, they come out, they set up tables and chairs, and they got music going. People are handing out Gatorade. They're handing out beer. If that's what you want to grab while you're in the middle of a marathon, go for it. Really cool area to run. It's shady. It's just one of my favorite parts. It's definitely my favorite part of the entire Detroit Marathon. So then you head back down Lafayette Street. So you're running along this way. You can take advantage of the downhill this time around. Jump to the outside of the DeQuinder Cut. Then you go down Larned. You cross, this is I-375. And then you are back downtown. And instead of finishing at the start like you did in 2019 and in previous runs, you finish just sort of south of Campus Martius, but you finish right on Woodward, which I think is a better location to finish versus finishing all the way over on Fort Street, because you're kind of out of the way. It's hard to access. This, I think, is a much better way. That is the overall course map. I am really excited about this. I have not made up my mind if I'm going to actually run the full or the half. I was thinking half, but now that I've seen the full course, I might actually run it. It takes away the worst part of the entire marathon, in my opinion, which is Belle Isle, and adds some really cool areas in Midtown, in the Brush Park area, in Eastern Market. It keeps the Indian Village area. You're still running downtown. You still get to cross the bridge. You still get to run in Canada. You still get to run underneath the tunnel, which is it's humid and it smells weird, but it's also kind of a cool experience to run underneath a river as you cross an international border. So they kept all the things I like about the Detroit Marathon, got rid of the things I don't like, and replaced them with what I think are going to be really cool things. So that is my initial reaction of the 2022 Detroit Marathon course. Let me know your thoughts. If you've run the Detroit Marathon, do you prefer the previous course versus what you're seeing here? Do you like this course? Let me know. If you have any questions about this, I have run 2 pretty awful marathons in the Detroit Marathon. My best advice for this race would be to start out slow, because if you go too fast, crossing the bridge into Canada will destroy you, and you're at mile 3 at that point. So you could be in some serious trouble before you are even basically started. So that's my quick advice. If you have any questions about the marathon, definitely reach out in the comments. But very excited to see the changes. Excited that we'll be running in Canada once again, just a unique thing that you get to run in 2 different countries as long as you have a passport and proper identification. But that's the video for today. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you soon.